which is it took artisans 3 years to carve these panels. And the highly ornamented plaster ceiling was done by Italian craftsmen and enhanced with the use of so other features in the room include a 10-foot high Louis XVI style faux gilt carved light standard with 24 bulbs. So while it's not a true Louis, there were some true Louis pieces in the house. This light standard is still there today, and there's a number of original mirrors as well like that. So there's other rooms in the castle we've talked about. So the conservatory, which was a room that used to be used to showcase plants. Right, the conservatory has a fountain at the one end, and it's a round room that was designed to fit beneath the castle's tower. So this room was noted for its doors and windows that curve to follow the shape of the tower above it. So it's a really pretty room. It's used a lot.
The conservatory, and what they've got is in the ceiling there is a stained glass.
Oh yes.
Skylight.
Oh, wow.
Huge.
Sounds
it's a
so
huge
beautiful.
circular
I'm looking at a picture
skylight
of it.
entirely made out of stained glass. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, this is it, right? So, I mean, a lot of these elements cost a lot of money to upkeep. So on the main floor of the castle, we have the oak room and the conservatory. We then have the billiards room, so the conservatory, the dining room, the great hall, the library, Peacock Alley, Sir Henry's study, a serving room, and a smoking room. So that's on the first floor. On the second floor is Sir Henry's suite, his bathroom, Lady Palat's suite, and her bathroom. And now I'm going to give you what is listed within the castle today: the Girl Guides exhibit, the guest suite, the Windsor room, and the round room. So the Girl Guide exhibit is essentially in another bedroom, right? These would have been rooms. The third floor is interesting because you have less rooms up there, but they would have been servants' quarters. So the servants' room, there's a room called the Austin Room, which may or may not have been used for Palat's meetings, although it was never truly finished. So I'm not sure that he ever used it, but I think initially it was meant to be almost like a boardroom, and it was never completed. And then we have the what they call the Kiwanis room, the garden room, and then you have the stairs to the tower, and you have the Queen's Own Rifles Regimental Museum. So these are all rooms that would have more than likely have been servant spaces, additional bedrooms, and guest suites for people coming to stay. In the basement now, there's the gift shop, which this is nice. It actually tells us. So the gift shop is where the bowling lanes and the shooting range were that were never completed. So imagine an indoor shooting range. The Castle Cafe is where the gymnasium was that never was completed. The swimming pool was never completed. There's a wine cellar and the tunnel to the hunting lodge. So I'm curious then, where was the original kitchen? It had to have been in the lower level. There's no way it was in the main level. I can't even imagine a room
because it would still be visible today, wouldn't it?
That's right. And on top of that, it may have even been in a separate building altogether, right? Because that may have been something possible as well. So then we have the stables. So the stables, there's the garage, the potting shed, the standing stalls with the horses' names, and the box stalls. So the original horses' names are still on the stables. The carriage room, the tack room, and the hunting lodge. And then the exterior now is gardens and parking lot, which, of course, once upon a time just would have been Palat's land. There wouldn't have been any parking lot there. But it's a really interesting and beautiful. And here's some of the locations. So the movies we were talking about earlier. So the X-Men, Strange Brew, Chicago, The Tuxedo, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Warehouse 13, Descendants, Twitches 2, The Pacifier, Titans.
Wow.
There's a lot here. Beauty and the Beast remake. Harry Potter and the Deadly Hallows. They turned the castle into that, right, for a temporary exhibit. It's also been on numerous sort of, Canadian TV shows. And also it was the filming location for the terrible, terrible version of the remake of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's do the time warp again.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Awful.
That's a full
movie
point
that should never have been
remake. That's not
absolutely terrible. And the science fiction double feature was filmed at Casa Loma at the time. So the worst remakes ever. I recognized it when I watched it because I went past Casa Loma, but so a lot of things, and like I said, also I believe that Murdoch Mysteries has filmed in there and numerous other things. But so let's
when you go down through the basement and you walk through that main corridor, what they've done is they've lined both sides of the corridor with the movie posters.
Right.
Of all the
okay.
films
So the tunnel now,
that
or
were shot on
tunnel?
location there.
Oh, cool. Okay. So they've done.
No, not
they've
the,
done,
not
and
the
they
tunnel,
put that
but just
in the tunnel.
Just the basement.
Oh, in the basement. So when you come down the staircase and you're by where the gift shop
right
and everything
there.
is?
When you come down where the gift shop is, and you walk down the basement corridor towards the swimming pool. Both sides of the corridor are lined with all these movie posters.
Oh, okay.
Of the films that were shot on location there.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. See, and I think the last time I was there, I was doing an investigation. So that must have been, gosh, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, something like that. So I was there strictly for an investigation. So it's been a while. So interestingly enough, so we've talked a lot about the opulence and some of the history of the house. Private family residence built by someone with some money, and again, much like Bolt Castle, his wife died, into it, and they kind of ran out of money, and just a lot of things happened. So let's jump to the stories of the ghosts and the the so-called hauntings at Casa Loma, because this is, and I say so-called, that doesn't mean that it's not haunted. It's just there's different people's versions of what may or may not be there. I'm
intrigued to find out.
So Ian, as you said, when you were there, you were just going through mostly touring it yourself during public opening hours. So it wasn't like you could really isolate or do.
It wasn't an official, exclusive kind of paranormal investigation.
Right. So I was really lucky.
Yeah, we were just there as tourists going through, and we just happened to have some equipment with us, which of course we intentionally brought. But of course, realizing that we could not just set up and do an authorized investigation. You talk about the ghosts. As I say, I was creeped out in the swimming pool area,
right?
And I could feel that it just kind of felt heavy in there, and it felt like someone was watching you the entire time.
Okay.
And
I've often had that feeling in that area too.
Yeah.
That's
very interesting that you say that. Making parallels with Bolt Castle, when I visited there, they do also have a basement swimming pool area that isn't like being used as a swimming pool. So it demonstrates where the swimming pool was, but there's no actual water in it anymore. And it's very interesting that you're talking about the swimming pool area and feeling watched, because when I was there at Bolt Castle, and again, it's not the same place, but I had the same kind of feelings with Bolt Castle in that particular area, which would have been the swimming pool, which is right down in the basement. It's really underground.
Yes, and this is the same with Casa Loma.
That's kind of a very interesting parallel that you're commenting about the swimming pool right there at Casa Loma.
I've always felt sort
at
of
Bolt
that.
Castle, was that swimming pool finished, or was it unfinished like it was at Casa Loma?
No, it was unfinished. They never finished it either.
Yeah, that's right. It's unfinished.
Okay.
Bolt Castle, half of the castle was never finished. Yeah. I'm telling you, Ian, the similarities between Casa Loma and Bolt Castle, it's shocking how similar the situations were at that same time period. because it was a time when it was very uncertain, right? People with money were losing money like left, right, and center at that time, that Edwardian period with the First World War. So I think Bolt Castle, and, with the wife dying there too, and the money running out, and the parallel is astounding, and the look of the two buildings are quite astoundingly similar. I do think Bolt Castle's bigger, though. I think it's bigger than Casa Loma. I'll have to look at that if somebody's got a second, just to double check that. Just check to see how many rooms Bolt has. And one of my favorite features at Bolt Castle is the grotto. And, that's something too. We'll definitely have to do a show on Bolt Castle because it's a phenomenal cool building as well. But that feeling in the basement of Bolt Castle, I can definitely equate that with the same feeling in the basement of Casa Loma. And I wonder if it's just because it's the basement and because it's a lot of concrete.
Exactly. Yeah.
It could be. Yeah.
Very cold. Yeah. It's instantly cold down there. I mean, it's very stuffy as well. For some reason, it's
there's
very
not a lot of air circulation.
No breeze. No, not at all.
So, I don't know if it is just, maybe our own perceptions of feeling that, basement, concrete, unfinished, kind of creepy,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And Bolt Castle. Yeah, and then Bolt Castle has never been restored to the opulence of Casa Loma either. So, no, Bolt Castle. They are, but it's got a long way to go before it even meets sort of Casa Loma's, finished interiors. But that being said, I do agree with that. And when I was there doing the investigation, it was nighttime. And everything, wasn't open to the public. There was nothing there. There was about 30 of us in the building. I mean, the building's huge. So there were about 30 of us in there, spread out in different areas. And I just remember going through and sort of picking up things for myself. And having had worked there previously, I know a lot about the building. But at the same time, being there in the daytime, working with kids and doing a lot of things, I mean, I went through the building thoroughly many, many times, but it was always during regular working hours. So it wasn't like, we got to be there at night and go through the building. So this was the first time that we'd ever been able to do this and go through the building. So going through the building, I picked up on a number of things. I don't want to say there was anything I didn't find anything sinister or frightening or a lot of residual energy on the staircase from Palat's study to the second floor, which was a servant staircase, but it was a hidden staircase. So the interesting thing, and Ian, I think you know the one that I mean, in the wall by the fireplace, right? Yeah. So you push the button, that little part of the wall pops open. And there's this little narrow secret staircase in there, but you can see that it has been used many times by staff. Right, the tread marks, the tread wear on the stairs, it's that kind of thing where if you look at the wooden stairs, you can see they've been walked on so many times that there's actually worn away. And so you get that there. So you know that was definitely, I'm sure Palat used it a lot, just coming up and down from the second floor frequently from his room down to his study, probably daily, several times a day.
Why take the long way around when you don't have to?
That's right. Yes. And, but so you've got that, but I always picked up on something in Palat, in that office, that Palat's office there. Now I can't put my finger on exactly what it might have been. It may have been residual energy, but whenever I sort of was in that room, I always felt like something was brushing past me, right? Kind of at that staircase when that piece is open and you sort of go up because there's only in the castle you can only move in certain directions unless it's after hours. Right? So that staircase is strictly an up only direction during the day,